And welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over the fall forecast of 2025. And so you can see here that I put together my forecast. And a quick disclaimer before we go fully into the video. This is just averages that we're averaging out on how we expect this year to go. This really takes into account like El Nino and La Nina, which is basically jet stream general patterns. And so also just be aware that this is probably not going to be let me put it this way. This is not a forecast for like your backyard. It's a larger region kind of thing. So it's just what to generally expect. Also, during the months where I have the regions highlighted, that may not be the only type of weather you experience. So if you're in a warm region where I have it highlighted that I think it's going to be warmer than average, not the whole month is going to be warm. There could be some cold spells in there, but this is just averaging out. So this is really, I took years that matched this one, and even then that was average. So we're taking averages and averaging them out more, I guess you could say. So it's multiple averages, and then I average those out. This is not going to be a perfect average, by the way. This is just general. So anyways, let's go into the video. So, like I was talking about earlier, you're going to be seeing the ENSO forecast. By the way, this was provided from NOAA Climate Prediction Center, which are government-based sources. So, by the way, this image is in the public domain. And so you can see here a percent chance of the ENSO phases. So this is May, June, July. We're currently in this phase, and we're in a neutral phase right now, as well as moving in through the months. Pretty much the whole rest of the year is expected to be in the neutral pattern. And I did use a source also from the Climate Prediction Center, and it was showing that throughout these months of the fall and winter, we're going to be hitting around negative 0.4 degrees Celsius. I think it's Celsius. So what that means is the water temperatures in the eastern Pacific off the coast of western South America, it's taking those temperatures, and also because it affects like the jet stream. So this really is taking a look into the jet stream, because if there's a neutral pattern, a La Nina pattern, or a El Nino pattern, they can actually change the weather where we are. So this thing is pretty important in forecasting. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. So this thing is pretty important. So let's go on to the month of September. So we're taking a look. This is also provided from government agencies under NOAA. So this is official stuff. So September statewide ranks, you could see that 2001, a similar ENSO phase than what we're going through, at least by what I've found. So you'd see here out in the east it was cooler, and out in the west it was warmer, as well as the northeast, warmer than average temperatures. So out west here, portions of it were less average precipitation, below normal precipitation. As in the central plains, definitely above average precipitation there, and then as you go into the northeast and mid-Atlantic, definitely below average there. Let's see. So, and then in September of 2017, which is also similar, you see that pretty much no state was below normal really here. That doesn't mean for the whole time. That just means for the average. By the way, I meant to mention the reason I did not upload Tuesday was because I was sick, and today is the first day I'm kind of feeling better. So, anyways, you could see generally most of the nation here was near average, a bit above average. And then precipitation wise, we have most of the west being above average precipitation there, except for Arizona and Washington. They were below average precipitation wise. For the east, a lot of these states right here were below average precipitation wise. And then as you got towards the southeast here, they were above average, if not close to average. So, and then September 2024 as well, also similar. So we would see here there was a large majority of the nation that was below average or above average above average temperature wise, excuse me. And then the southeast here was above average precipitation wise, as well as Montana. And then a large majority of these states was below average precipitation wise here. So let's take a look at the temperature forecast that I put together here for November. So you can see mostly the states that are out west I expect to be above average temperature wise, as well as the far northwestern states there. And then the southeastern states in here, they could be slightly below average here. So the darker colors just represents the confidence that I have that these states will be below average. So I think there is a slight chance that the southeast here could be a little bit below average, but it probably is leaning towards a bit neutral temperatures, like average temperatures. Then for the precipitation forecast I put together here, obviously we saw the southeast in most of these was above average, so I'm pretty confident in that, as well as closer to Montana. And then the northeast, the desert southwest here, and the northwest, I do expect to be below average by a little bit. I do a little bit of confidence in that. So now let's take a look at October. So the October 2024, actually a lot of the nation was above average there, temperature-wise. Let's see. So precipitation-wise, a lot of the nation as well was above average or below average precipitation-wise. So we saw hot, dry, I guess you could say. And then for 2001, you'd see for the whole nation, only the southeast here was below normal, and then like Washington, and that's it. And everything else was average. Pretty much most of the rest was average, and then some of the rest were above average here. So precipitation wise, you could see the very east coast here a little bit below average there. Actually, some places a lot below average, as well as the west here, the south central, and the northwest here. So let's see. And then October 2005, we could see generally the same thing as the 2024 October there, with the mostly above average nation. And then 2005 as well for the precipitation is kind of reversed from the last image there, where we saw this area above and this area below. It's really just reversed from that. This area is below, this area is above, kind of like that. So this is what I come up with for the temperature map I do think that the west will be pretty good, above average. Let's see. So for the southwest here, I do think that they have a better chance at being above average. And then the northeast there, I do think they have a slight chance of being above average as well. Not temperature-wise. Precipitation-wise, I do think that the east might be a little bit below average there. And there's a slight chance for that, as well as a slight chance for some of the desert southwest there to be a little bit below average precipitation-wise. And these two areas here are the only really chances that have, the only real areas that have chances from the history to be a little bit above average. So, November. Let's take a look at November here, and you could see 2013 east was pretty cold, and the west was a bit above average. And then here we had the west being a bit drier, and the east being a bit more average, if not a little bit above average for precipitation. And then in 2024 November, we had the west being somewhat cooler than average, and then the east being pretty good above average, actually. Kind of like reverse of what we saw from that other image there. And actually most of the nation in 2024 November was above average precipitation-wise. And if there was any below average, it wasn't too bad below average. And then in 2001 of November, we did see pretty much all of the nation above average temperature-wise there. And a lot of it actually was like, if we draw out a map here, let's see. There was a good portion of the U.S. that was above average, but the East Coast was generally the one that saw the least precipitation there. So this is what I come up with the temperature. So the temperature-wise, I think the Southwest here, I think that they do have a pretty good shot at being above average temperature-wise, and as well as the East and the Great Lakes region there. So now let's move on to the precipitation. So you can see here, I think that this area will be above average. I think there's a slight chance at it, as well as the West Coast. Now the Northeast and the East Coast, I think, will be a little bit above or below average precipitation-wise. Now, don't get me wrong, with the eastern precipitation, that can be influenced a lot, especially in the fall, by tropical systems. So this is just like, if something happens like a tropical system, this could mess up the whole forecast. So just be mindful of that. So, let's see. Thank you for watching. And if you did like the video, please subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye.